Okay, it started.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with anything, but so I finally finished. I finally finished setting up my new channel, Noir's Cool 69. So all my old videos are finally uploaded. They're still set to private, but I should put them to public after we're done recording.
Okay.
But oh, okay. So we're talking about what? Oh, by the way, pressing start now. So we're talking about Witchcraft Works, and do you want to know how I discovered Witchcraft Works?
Yeah, it sounds like it has a story behind it.
So this was, well, it's not much of a story, but this happened all the way back in 2014.
When it came out.
When it came out, when the first couple of chapters came out already, as in maybe volume 1 or 2 was out by then. But I discovered it from a hentai manga, a hentai doujinshi.
Oh, I see.
I did not know that it was a doujinshi though, and oh, we have to talk to Julius. I forgot.
Where is he?
For those of you who do not know, Max and I actually recorded this already, but the recording kept messing up, so we had to restart.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, I did not know that the hentai I was masturbating to was based on anything, but then I just noticed I think I noticed somewhere when I was looking it up again that it was in the thing I was looking it up on, because I saw it on one site, but then I looked it up on another website. The other website had in parentheses Witchcraft Works, and I thought, is that something is that part of a series that this ero mangaka is working on? Is that? So I looked up Witchcraft Works, and then I started reading it, and it was on the worst websites.
Oh.
The websites, you know how some websites will let you navigate the pages by pressing the left or right keys and whatnot?
Oh, yeah.
This website required that you use Control Left and Control Right for to navigate pages, and Shift Left and Shift Right to navigate chapters.
Mm-hmm.
It was so awful, but I was having so much fun reading that I just went, I don't care. This is too good.
I love this show.
I'm loving reading this, and then I just kept on rereading it over and over and over. I think yes. I think only volumes 1 and 2 were out, because it was at the point. VCs. For some reason I'm not.
Confirm the God Eater's arrival in the combat area. Let's get to work.
Let's go. For some reason I'm not hearing. Oh. I wasn't hearing the game because my headphones aren't on correctly. But so yes, it was so much fun just reading that.
Yeah.
It was some. I think when I was reading it, it was at the time from before where the anime stopped.
Yeah, the anime covers up to volume 27. So not volume, I mean chapter 27.
Yeah. But I think the manga, when I first read it, the manga was at the point of sometime before where the anime stopped. I cannot remember for sure, but yes, I'm a fan, and I loved it so much. I just kept rereading it, and the more I read it, the more little things I noticed in the background. By the way, the anime also adds little things in the background.
Yeah, I missed a lot of those.
But they also add things in the background that weren't in the anime. Remember when the little sister said, "Oh yeah, I've always been watching you and I've always been watching you and Ayaka while you weren't looking.
And she was
And
stalking them in the background.
In the manga, she didn't appear until the chapter where she was first introduced, or at least the chapter before that. So I remember this one scene in the anime where they show her in the background in one of the episodes. And originally she wasn't there in the manga, but in the anime they added her in the background, just barely noticeable.
Yeah. I didn't see that, but I noticed it when watching for a second time because, yeah, the show was so hilarious that I had to watch it a second time, especially since you told me that there's a lot of details and.
Yeah, I really hope that you at least get half the stuff in the background of the manga, because it's just great seeing all that.
Yeah, the hilarity is it's just it's so great. I just love I don't know, I just love the as I said earlier, the chemistry between the two, like how just what's her name, Ayaka, well, Kagari just doesn't give a shit and is always overprotective. And you have Takamiya being just well, he's trying his best to be more useful and not a princess.
Yeah, yet he's just, I mean, he is useful later on, but kind of dangerously so.
Yeah, and that's why he needs to be protected all the time, because he needs to be preserved, I guess. If it makes any sense, I'm sure you understand what I mean, but you can't really having. Plus, he's kind of stupid, so sometimes he takes really dumb decisions, and thankfully Kagari is there to fix things up, I guess. But I mean, that's what makes it funny, is the fact that he still has to be protected. I guess that's the whole point.
Oh, okay, it's done.
Even when you see her mom, like she's also gigantic.
Oh yes, I really like. Man, all the moms in it are also very attractive. Actually, in terms of design though, I'd have to say my favorite character. I can't remember her name because it's been so long since I've read the manga actually. The first enemy that they meet, the girl with the cat ears.
Oh, Tanpopo.
Yeah, Tanpopo. I love her design. I think she's cute.
Yeah, she is cute. Yeah, she's funny too. Like that scene where in the anime, like he's sleeping and Ayaka is there like watching over him because she knows he's gonna get attacked, and we're all like, yeah, we're gonna wait until we fall asleep. You know that scene?
Oh yes. Oh, I one thing I kind of remember is I think it was in the third chapter when it was either the beginning of the second or third chapter where Takamiya notices, hey, where are the other witches that were introduced at the end of the first chapter that just mysteriously transferred over to our school so they could kidnap me? And Ayaka has all of them in a torture chamber somewhere.
Yeah, and you said they were above her, so.
So I just took the liberty of doing this, and I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of them escaped, and then she tries to rescue them.
Yeah.
But she's just so fun.
Yeah, exactly, fun. That's the word. That's why I loved it so much immediately. It's just there's something about this show. Like, it's not groundbreaking, but it's refreshing and fun. I'm trying to focus on the game a bit, but it's very hard. Yeah, I barely read a few chapters more than the anime so far, but yeah.
I was going to talk about another manga. I've been reading this other manga recently. I can't remember. I read it a week ago, and I was going to tell you about it. But it also features. Okay, no. I read it a few days ago, not a week ago. But there, Bleach?
Oh yeah, Bleach. Yeah.
So the mangaka is just released a one-shot, and I think he's going to make it a full series. It takes place in the same universe as Bleach.
Huh.
Do you still know the plot of Bleach?
I don't think I do, to be honest, because it's been 10 years.
Basically, it's the Japanese. It's the Japanese Yakuza versus the Mexican cartel versus the Nazis. But speaking seriously, so you know how basically it was Japanese Grim Reapers,
Yeah.
trying to purify the souls of evil spirits that were Mexican.
I do remember the what is it, the world of the dead or whatever.
Yeah, the Soul Society.
Yeah, Soul Society, and the fact that they had to fight Aizen, and then they fought him at some point in the other world. Another one again, I forgot the Mundo something.
They fought them, in Mexico.
Yeah, and I stopped the series at somewhere in that world. Episode.
It
80.
just got worse from there.
Okay.
You weren't missing much.
Okay.
But anyway, so he's making a new series taking place in the same universe, where it takes place in the Soul Society Western branch,
Oh.
which takes place in reverse London. So it's kind of an underground London,
Huh.
and no one's dead. And instead of Shinigami, it's witches.
Oh, witches.
Well, it's witches, but you know it's basically spellcasters.
Oh.
They're male witches. Actually, the thing is, witch used to apply to males as well.
I didn't know that.
But anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, so it instead of Shinigami, it's witches, and instead of dealing with evil spirits, it's dragons.
Oh.
And so far it's really interesting. The main, remember that little teddy bear thing from Bleach?
Yeah.
The one that was a real pervert? The male lead, because he's not, he doesn't seem like the main character. The male lead is basically a human version of that guy, where he's kind of where he's a pervert and he wants to see panties. And the two main characters, or at least the main character, is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
Again.
So, you know, it's right up our alley. I really like her. The first thing, she has a monologue at the beginning, and the first thing she says is, "I really like uniforms." And she's wearing basically a Japanese school uniform in London.
Okay.
Also, she's basically a weeaboo. So,
Oh man.
I'm paying too much attention to what I'm saying and not enough to the fight, and I walked into an attack and I died.
I remember a comment I saw on YouTube when I was checking out stuff about Witchcraft Works, and a guy said in the comments, I wonder if she's going to be this stoic once they finally have sex. And then someone replied, well, Takamiya will be the delicate bottom while she controls him in bed.
It's true. She'd be mounting him. You are stuck in the air from my point of view in the game.
Yeah, I got kicked out of the
Disconnected?
Yeah, disconnected. I'm trying to focus, but it's so hard. My eyes are, because of the heat of the summer, I'm having blood pressure issues, and my eyes get filled with like flashes when it happens because of my retinitis pigmentosa. I think I told you about this, but yeah. So when it happens, I am unable to see anything anymore because, well, obviously when you have flashes all over the place, you can't see. And it's not flashes from the game. It's like, in my eyes. So it sucks. Also, the connection seems to be taking a hit on my side because the quality of the call is dropping. So that's why I got disconnected, I guess. Man, I am just randomly like berserking, and I don't even know if I'm hitting it or not.
Block!
Oh shit.
Faces and head.
Oh yeah. It wasn't too bad, I guess. Ah! I ran out of pills.
Give me a moment. I'll heal you.
I only have like regular pills now. I used all of my out of my.
We need to get you that one ability that that heals you as long as you're in burst.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
I need to rename my bullets. My bullet right now is called homing bullet, but my bullets don't home in on anything.
Can you still rename them like in Resurrection?
Oh, you can still, yes, you can still rename them. I'm just too lazy.
Okay, because I'm surprised you didn't name them like, I don't know.
Dank memes.
Yeah, something. Oh. Shit. I'm not even paying attention to my bar. You know why actually? Because I'm sure you can guess why I'm not paying attention to my, for example, my stamina bar or anything like that. It's not in my field of vision when I play. So
I'm actually trying to pay attention to your HP at the very least.
yeah, because since I have a very narrow field of vision because of the disease, I need to move my head a lot, and it's not possible when I have the microphone next to my face. Also, this has nothing to do with anything, but I started playing Shining Resonance Refrain, and I am not surprised, but it has a lot of dating mechanism in it. I mean,
I'm also I think I told you this. I'm let's playing that for my for my channel Noir School 69, and yeah, I'm not surprised either. I'm still very upset by the lack of different races like centaurs and.
We need diversity.
We need the diversity of the old games. The old games were much more diverse.
Man.
But yeah, lack of centaurs is making me angry. Not because I'm into centaurs or anything, but the centaur character was my favorite character in the original game.
Also, from what I've been reading, you can actually date males as well.
Progressive.
Yeah, something that Persona does not do.
Oh, it's dead.
Wow, we actually did it.
Wow, that was a lot quicker than last time. Probably because my recording device was not dying.
Where's that thing? I need to eat it. Oh.
Over here. Did you get the Chinese?
The
one over here?
No.
I'm jumping.
Okay, I see it, so I didn't get it.
And then there's another one.
Maybe I got this one.
The one here?
No, I didn't get. I see it shining. So. Also, I'm upset because I bought the waifu app of Shining and it glitches.
And it does not work.
Well, it works in the viewing mode. I get all the DLC working, but the 1 minute event, which is apparently an event from the game, is not working for me. It kicks me out every time. So I don't know what's going on with that. I tried everything to fix it. Nothing works. So. I don't know, because I've seen streams of it, and it seems to work for the couple streams I've seen. It's weird. So maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. Or it's just, I haven't seen much, aside from the 2 streams, no one has shown the event. Like, everybody shows the viewing mode, like the one thing that works for me. So perhaps it's actually bugging for most people, I don't know. If a patch comes out soon, like on Wednesdays, perhaps it's gonna. Oh, I hope it gets fixed, because I want to see that 1 minute event.
Do you recall the day you joined the Blood Unit? No, not really, because I remember there was a guy. I think I remember there was a guy named Robert or something. I can't remember.
Oh, I replied that, but I was expecting I don't know, an angry response, but no.
Something disappointing at the very least, like, oh, I see.
But instead, oh no, I understand. Makes sense. He lost his boyfriend. I know. I know, Julius. It must be tough to have lost your boyfriend.
It was that way for years before Romeo. It was a difficult
talking about Romeo. About Fabio or something.
Wait, his name was Romeo? I thought it was Bobbio. Tell me, what do you think of him? He was dependable, or he was... Well, he was... kind? I guess? He wasn't dependable at all.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a good meat shield.
When I hear his voice, for some reason I think of what's his name? From Persona 5, the weirdo artist guy.
The Foxman.
Foxman.
Kitsune, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't played Persona 5.
I haven't played it in English.
Actually, you
but
know what?
I know it's him.
I swear, all of the threads on 4chan about Kawakami are making me want to play the game.
Ah, yeah, you can actually date her, and I think if I was able to continue Persona 5, I would have probably changed my choice from Makoto to MILFs.
I remember there's this the screenshot I sent you.
Oh, that was so funny.
Man, I'm still on the cut.
Oh, is it okay? I'm older than you. That's the best part. Something.
Like,
I'm your teacher. I'm your teacher.
I'm
That's
a teacher,
the best part.
and you're my student. That's the best part. MC-san, are you interested in older women?
Hell yeah.
I am.
Those are
Would you
actual answers, by the way. Those are actual answers.
I know. That's the best. And then would you like a thorough examination? Yes, please. And his eyes are shining, and all of that.
I love it. I know about all of it because I watched Let's Plays, unfortunately, in a way, because, you know, I told you I wasn't able to finish the game myself. But yeah.
That's the best part. So, every time there's a thread about Kawakami on 4chan, I mean my anime list, feces. I don't browse 4chan, but anyway, every time there's a thread about Kawakami on my anime list. What do you call it? Everyone always says the same thing. It's not rape if the female is a sexually attractive. It's not rape if the adult is a sexually attractive female.
Also, she's actually very useful in the game if you choose to get very close to her.
Yes, apparently confidants have something. I don't know.
She can do tasks for you as well without you losing, wasting time. Actually, because when you, for example, if you need items, you can wash like stuff you find in dungeons, but it takes time. So if you give it to her, she washes it for you because she becomes your personal maid, and so she can give you massages as well to give you more time in the evening to go out and do stuff. So it's very useful.
That's a nice happy ending. Do you know what that means?
No. What do you mean, nice happy ending?
So, in Burgerlandian vernacular, whenever people go to a massage parlor, usually run by Taiwanese or Chinese people specifically, you can order a happy ending.
A blowjob?
Well, a hand job.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So we have to go to the upper level and we have to go to the director's office.
I should have guessed
So-
by the happy ending name. I should have guessed. I see. No. Oh. I hope it doesn't bleed into the mic, but I need to hear a bit. I need to hear the game.
He transferred to R&D on Friday. He'll be working with Dr. Rachel as produce God.
Also, I'm hoping for a second season of Witchcraft Works if possible someday.
It's not gonna
I
happen.
know. I know.
At least not for a decade.
A decade? I mean, Initial D got a new season after 8 years. But it's insanely popular, so it's a different, I guess. I mean, Data Live.
I have no idea.
Data Live got movies, but aside from that, the last season was in 2014.
Yeah, and a certain magical index finally got us. He's finally getting a third season after over 5 years.
So not all hope is lost, I guess.
Friar's former God eaters have been transferred. You will now be serving the Far East.
Even if it probably won't happen, but I'm still hoping because I loved watching it. And the music was good. I don't know, I just really liked the BGM in the anime.
I liked the ending.
The ending was fun. Yeah.
The witch activity.
Yeah. Also, even the soundtrack to the battles, I think it fits really well. I don't know. Just
Honestly, I can't remember anything, but I can't remember any of the music other than the ending.
and the opening was pretty nice too. Like nothing, groundbreaking, but like it. But the ending was the best, I think. I just love how OP she is. I just remembered how she would destroy the, Tampopo like in 1 second. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, please watch carefully. And then the fight starts and boom, it's over.
There's so many anime, manga, light novels that I want them to have anime sequels.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
Actually, there's one anime that I think has a very faithful light novel adaptation. It's about 11 episodes, not including the OVA,
Uh-huh.
and it only covers 2 volumes.
Huh.
It's probably one of the best light novel adaptations.
That's one thing.
By the way, you have to talk to the counter girl to go back to the old base.
Okay, I'm still finishing the cutscene, but
But,
I have something to talk about. Speaking of anime in general. Okay, I've just finished the cutscene. So here's a thing that caught my attention. I was watching the Happy Console Gamer today in a video with a guy that apparently has a massive hentai collection. He's like 50 years old, but whatever. He was the guy that owned the store where the guy, Happy Console Gamer, was renting PC Engine games back in the day, apparently. And the guy basically said, yeah, back in the day we weren't flooded with anime like today. And they basically mentioned the fact that it's not as nice because there's too much. And I guess I can relate. And one thing I don't really understand though is that we say, animators don't get paid a lot, like they struggle a lot. There is, huge problems and stuff. But at the same time, we're seeing so much anime being just dumped every season. It's insane. Like, it's impossible, literally impossible to follow everything. And there used to be a time where it was. So I'm just thinking, where's the logic in that? Like, there's no money, and yet there's so much to watch. It's insane. So I don't know.
do you want to know where the money comes from?
Figures?
Yeah,
I know.
it all comes from merchandising.
Yeah, now that's how they make money with merchandise. So I guess we are supporting the industry.
By the way, you have to go to the lounge.
Okay, lounge. So in a way, we are supporting the industry. Even us, I mean. But yeah, I know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was all about
Supporting
the merch.
the industry? What are you talking about? I don't buy any anime figures. Everything I buy is from games.
Well, I do.
Oh yeah, you do.
What do I need to do in the lounge?
You have to go to the lounge, and the cutscene should start.
I don't have any cutscene.
Oh, I think you have to talk to Nana first in the front area, and then you go to the lounge.
I'm gonna talk to Ciel. I just did, but whatever.
No, not Ciel, Nana.
Yeah. Where's Nana? I don't see her.
She should be next to Gil.
Okay, saw her. Okay. Yeah, there is some dialogue going on. Okay. Ooh, yeah, cutscene.
I've actually already seen this cutscene. Like I said, I played ahead a little bit because I wanted to know when I would be able to do the character episodes. But, you know, same old. Over dramatic cutscene. People not talking like humans. The music, even on fairly low settings, is louder than the people speaking.
They should be on the front lines.
So what?
Audio mixing in games is not difficult. Even Neptunia was able to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's something that should have been mastered a long time ago.
Not even that. A lot of games nowadays will. A lot of games nowadays will have the.
Well, you can change it in the options, though.
Well, yes, but what I mean is, what a lot of games will do is, they will auto-adjust the audio based on if. Based on if.
There's a lot of effects or.
If there's dialogue audio. Things like dialogue audio and music audio are usually saved as two separate files. So when dialogue audio is playing, usually there will be the game will be programmed so that it will lessen the sound effect audio or music audio more, so you can hear the dialogue better.
Yeah.
That's how it usually is for a lot of games. Like I said, even Neptunia does it, where when a character is talking, the music volume will lower, and then when the character is done talking, it will go up again.
Yeah. Guess hopefully God Eater 3 gets better. In that front.
Honestly, it really feels like at least in terms of localization time, it feels like God Eater 2 was worked on first, and then Resurrection.
Yeah, also...
Just because...
Oh, go on, sorry.
Just because of how bad a lot of these technical issues are.
Yeah, it's honestly bad. And what actually surprised me is that God Eater 2 was the more... I mean, the box of the game is... The physical box is God Eater 2, and then you get this small sticker saying, oh, you get Resurrection for free, but... I actually think it kind of should have been the opposite if you see how... I think Resurrection is better, to be honest. Also, the audio quality is better, yeah.
Oh, do you have pills?
Oh yeah, I do, so should be fine. Oh, I didn't see you at the gate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it makes sense. Resurrection came after, but again, you would think that if God Eater 2 Rage Burst was localized after Resurrection, you'd think that these technical issues would not exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You are cleared to
a shame.
engage. Operation commence.
Because to me, those things can really ruin the experience, in my opinion. When you hear the audio and cutscenes, like, it sounds so bad. So bad. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm just being shot at.
By the way, it's dead, but there's a shiny over
Okay.
here.
Where is the shiny?
I'm jumping around it.
I'm trying to see you first. That's the thing. I don't see. There's too much going on.
Don't see a shiny?
No, I don't see a shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see one.
Maybe you already picked it up.
Maybe. God damn it.
Oh, by the way, we're talking a lot about anime, and a lot. So there are what 2 or 3 isekai anime out right now,
Again?
and of course all of them are just rubbish. I've only watched I think 2 of them, but there's this third one where it's trying to be a ripoff of Dot Hack, sort of. But you know how I hate Sword Art Online because because it's not a good game.
Yeah?
My friend Daniel told me that this one isekai anime that I have not watched is worse than Sword Art Online, not only from a writing perspective, but also it's a worse game.
Man, you know, coming back to what I said with being flooded with anime, why not stop putting out this shit and instead continue the series that were never finished that people actually liked? No, just a thought. Just a thought.
Probably either due to low anime or manga or figure sales, or either low sales due to merchandise or. I mean,
Not
you know
really.
the anime
Not really.
Keijo?
I know, but I heard what was it? A very popular series. I forgot the name, but everybody wanted a new season, and it was incredibly popular. And they said it's not a question of money, whatever, but they wouldn't make a new season anyway. And I don't understand. That's something I just
Maybe
don't
there's
get.
some corporate reasons behind it.
No, just that they didn't want to. So some studios, there's a studio that made it, I forgot the name of the studio, but they're known for not making, you know, multiple seasons for a show, basically. And they said, yeah, we won't be making another one, even though everybody was crying for one. And I'm just thinking, why? You know, again, if it wasn't popular and they didn't sell well, then okay, but speaking of sales, I know that Blu-rays are still a big thing in Japan. Like they sell Blu-ray box sets, and like the Blu-rays are being, you know, shielded and whatnot by the.
Yeah, they are.
So, I mean, for example, the official Darling in the Franxx Twitter was shitting for the Blu-rays and that kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, buy your Blu-rays. You know, which is something you don't see often here. I mean, yeah, we do see Blu-rays of even DVDs still of anime here, but you know what I mean. It's not really the norm, I guess, anymore. More like streaming. I mean, if you want to give money to the studio so that they can continue, you have to buy it. Buying a $5 Crunchyroll subscription is not going to pay for it. That's for sure. That's just the truth.
Actually, one thing I hate about subscription services like Crunchyroll, I do not mind people that buy those subscriptions. There's nothing wrong with wanting to support anime or Faku with hentai or whatever. Fine. You want to support the artist, you want to support the industry. That's great. It's fine. But one thing I hate about the companies is for some reason they always try to guilt people into buying into their subscription. It's a sort of thing where, oh, you don't buy anime? You're a terrible person because you're not supporting the artists, and you're immoral and an awful person. And shut up! I hate that.
I never saw it, so I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not following the, you know, the. Even if I have subscriptions, I do, even to French equivalent, as you know. I don't know about that. It's not that I don't care, it's just that I don't see what's happening.
it's not really the companies themselves that do it. It's more along the lines of if you go to their forums and you talk to people affiliated with the company, as in community managers or mods or something like that, there will always be this sort of moral grandstanding. And here's the thing as well. People always people joke about oh, you're speaking well about a company, you're just a shill. You know what a shill is, right?
Yeah, I know.
So, oh, you're just defending a company. You're just a shill. They mean it as sort of a secondhand word for fanboy. But there are people that are hired to go onto forums everywhere, 4chan, Reddit, My Anime List, and they are hired to shill these companies and morally grandstand. And
I see.
Look, it's
honestly, it's stupid because, as I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that those subscription systems are not enough to support the animators. It's far from enough. Unless you buy merch, like officially, like not bootlegs but actual merch from the companies, you're not supporting the shows. So you have to either buy Blu-rays or figurines or Worldsport, whatever. But if you don't, then it doesn't really change much, really.
And besides, if you really want to support the creators, you buy the manga or light novels.
Yeah, and you know, that is one thing I love about, I guess, the French-speaking countries. We have a lot of manga here. Like, there's a pretty huge culture around manga, even more than anime.
That's what I really envy about Europe, because here in Burgerland, I don't want to read, even if it's pretty pictures with words. I don't want to read the words with pretty pictures.
That's sad.
I hate this country so much.
I know. I understand. I feel you. When I see a lot of comments from, I'm assuming Americans, because they say that a lot, and I see it way too often, and it actually makes me angry when I read it. Even if I'm not American, I just think it's, it's pitiful, I guess. Pitiful, pathetic, I guess. Yeah, pathetic.
It's why I don't buy anime, but I'll gladly buy manga or light novels if I really like it.
That's why I decided from now on, even if I have a huge visual problem, I have a device, as you know, that allows me to zoom in on the manga, like the physical manga. So I decided to purchase every manga I love. Like, everything I like, I buy. I actually buy physically. And that's what I do now.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't have room anymore already on my shelf.
I know, I'm running out of space as well.
So it's a little bit of a problem, but we'll see. I'll have to find a solution.
At some point, what I might need to do, because I am running out of physical space, is I might just have to put some of the ones I'm not reading away and put them in a box and just label it.
Yeah. Well, so far for me, I still have vertical space on top of the horizontal setup, so I guess I can fill the shelves a little bit more, but after that it's...
I think my problem is I have less of a problem with this when it comes to manga and books, because manga and books tend to have a uniform size.
Yeah.
But games, because I buy so many special editions,
yeah.
I can't really... So, what I actually want to do is I want to... what's the word? I want to, I guess, buy extra... What do you call it? Extra row boards for my bookshelf. So I can fit more books onto it. I could probably fit an extra row onto each bookshelf, and I have 3. I I hate how hot it is. Not even that hot, but you know how I told you I set up a ghetto air conditioner?
Yeah.
It all melts, and what I'm doing is I'm putting frozen water bottles in a box, and I'm having a fan. I have a hole cut in the box for a fan to fan air into it, and then another hole for the cold air to come out. Within 2 hours, 10 frozen water bottles all melted.
Oh.
It's not even that hot. But, you know, because it's a lot of hot air going through, it melts more easily.
I see. Yeah, for me it's just, as you know, air coolers it's called. It's like
The air cooler with
fans with tanks where you put water into them, and then the water gets drained into a filter, and the air passes through the filter, I guess. It basically it's supposed to be sucking the temperature of the room a little bit with the water through the filter, as far as I understand. And it does work. Like when I put my hand in front of it, when I activate the water, it is colder, but it doesn't evacuate the heat, obviously. So the room temperature is still the same. It's just that it feels cold when you put your hand in front of it or something. But that's better than nothing, I guess. I have to use 3 fans.
I actually saw a few of those. I have no idea where we're supposed to go. I actually saw a few of those at a store nearby the clothing store I had to stop by earlier, and they were selling them of all shapes and sizes. But the one I was most amazed at, not in a good way, was one about the size of a toaster.
That's tiny.
It was about 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters.
Yeah, that's a toaster, pretty much.
And I was thinking, you have to put water into this, but it cannot be a lot of water.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that one of the ones I have, which is about 1 meter high, it drains a tank in 4 hours. And it's a lot bigger than that, so yeah.
I think we have to go to the blood section and say goodbye. Oh no, I'm wrong.
Okay.
We have to go to the laboratory and we have to say goodbye to Yuno.
Where's Yuno?
You have to go to the laboratory and then the hospital section on the left.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, I have to say the little dying girl.
Oh, that's sad.
Who's probably going to die. Oh, what?
She's called Asuna?
Asuna. You're going to grow up to wear white and have incredibly awkward VR sex with a guy with black hair. That's supposedly socially awkward, but isn't.
So funny.
But what do you call it? But this will that child will not die. There are not enough games where children die.
Yeah. Or they supposedly die and come back or whatever.
One thing I hate about this is something that happens a lot in anime and manga, but for some reason, characters just cannot die.
Oh, speaking of that, that's what I love about Persona 5. That's what I'm gonna say.
Let me guess. The character dies finally.
Yeah, and doesn't come back. It's dead.
You know,
for
same
good.
thing happens in Persona 3.
Nice.
There's a character that dies, does not come back. He's dead. And even the main character, when he supposedly comes back, no, it's not him. It's just the personification of all of the character's regrets that he died. And even then, he's a bad guy.
Oh. But yeah, that's one thing I think we need more is actual deaths, including in Kiseki. Also, have you seen the news about Cold Steel 4? Have you seen the news?
Was there more news that came out?
Yeah, for Estelle and Joshua. Fuck yeah.
All I know is that I think they're in Erebonia on personal business rather than. Well, it has to do with the Bracer Guild, but they've made it's personal business because they're worried about Tita.
Yeah. But you know, I saw the interview of Kondo, and well, my Japanese was decent enough to understand most of it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But he did say that they will have a role into this. So, also
they're going to steal the spotlight away from Reen. They're going to become the new protagonists.
Yeah, we're going to kick Reen's butt and to make him come back to himself, or maybe just put some what do you call it? Put some sense into him at least, and apparently also Alisa is going to have a role as well to save Reen, from what I've been seeing. Oh. So that's one thing.
Also, I was spoiled yet again because for some reason I just cannot stop myself from going onto Kiseki threads on my anime list.
And what happened? What did you see?
So supposedly I was trying to avoid spoilers, so I may have read this wrong in an attempt to not read it correctly. But Alisa's father is alive, and he's let's just say a G-man.
Do you?
A G-man.
I am afraid that it is true.
Ah, I see!
And also, guess what about Alisa and Reen's dads? Since you know it, well, you know,
they know each other.
they work together.
Of course!
So, yeah.
I kind of knew that, actually.
Okay.
Like, from being spoiled again.
Well, now you know why, I guess if you've seen the artwork of the cover, like Alisa looks, what do you call it, miserable because of things that happen.
Well, at least it helps establish more of Alisa as canon girl.
Yeah, so I'm glad about that because she's gonna have a role, which is nice. Oh, and I hope Estelle
now no one can say that Emma is canon girl.
Yeah.
Because Emma is best girl because she's important to the plot. Well, guess what? Now Alisa is too.
A lot.
Can't use that argument anymore.
Yeah. Also, well, you know, just the way it's been presented since the beginning, you have to be in denial to say that Emma is but I hope Estelle actually puts some what do you call it in English? I'm looking for an expression in my head in French, but I cannot translate it. You know, like putting some. I know it sounds bad and it doesn't make sense in English, but we say something in French like putting some bullets in your head. Not in the sense like killing someone, but basically, it's basically saying.
Getting an idea through to your head finally or something.
Yeah. So you know, I've been I've seen some conversations about that, and also some friends are hoping that Estelle and Joshua are basically showing how it's done, I guess.
So actually, that
you know what sucks? Actually, sorry, but speaking of that, before I forget. I bet that Class 7, the new and old Class 7, are again gonna be useless and be saved by all the other protagonists.
Oh, you mean sort of like how, what do you call it? The special section or something?
So special support section, yeah. SSS.
Special support section, that's right.
Yeah. Because Lloyd is gonna be there too. Ellie... This is a big fan service.
So Class 7 is going to be doubly useless. They're going to be useless with the special support section around, and then they're going to be even doubly useless because then Estelle and Joshua are going to bail them out.
Exactly, because one thing we hate with my French friends, about Sentry is, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but even then, the old Class 7 is useless as hell, and they always get their butts saved by other people, and Reen is still as useless as ever. So it's really annoying to get saved all the time, I think, and it feels like you cannot do anything, while Estelle and Joshua and the SSS were actually, you know, they were saved a few times, but it didn't feel the same, you know. They were actually able to deal with things, I guess, on their own. So I hear a lot of people saying that now Class 7, all the new are gonna be even more useless.
That actually reminds me of so again, because I cannot help myself from going into Kiseki threads on my anime list. That reminds me of a compelling argument. For, you know how I really do not like Reen. I think he's boring. I think the other protagonists in the series have much more character than he does.
Yeah,
blah, 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 yada yada yada.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Well, you haven't met
Someone
Lloyd.
made, but someone made a compelling argument to me on why all my grievances with Reen makes him a compelling character. And here was the argument. I'm going to be paraphrasing this, shortening this, because I cannot remember everything, but basically, Reen is a generic light novel protagonist.
And shonen.
He has a super special mode. He's a special snowflake. He has a superpower mode that makes him near invincible. He has a giant robot that it's pretty much exclusive to him. He has females swooning over him. He has a special lineage. He has a special lineage and whatnot. He has people that love and adore him from all walks of life, and he's completely charismatic, and everyone wants to be his friend, and he's able to win people over. And he is a generic light novel / shonen anime protagonist. But unfortunately, he is a light novel protagonist in a world where that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He's constantly getting his posterior handed to him. He constantly requires the help of others who are more capable than him because they have more experience than
That
him.
goes for all of them, though, but yeah, for Reen as well. Yeah.
For
And
him as
he
well.
cannot control his emotions. That's one thing too.
He cannot control his emotions because of his idealistic nature.
Yeah.
And again, because this is the world of Kiseki we're talking about, just because he's special doesn't mean that there are people who aren't special as well. There are people who have the same power as he does, and again, they have more experience with these powers.
Yep.
And again, because of his idealistic nature and the way the world of Kiseki works, his ideals are... He's being crushed under his own ideals.
Exactly.
And the awful nature of the world.
Honestly, okay, I do like Reen, and that's one thing I actually like about it is how miserable he gets. I know it's weird to say that, but I actually like it because I don't know, it just feels, you know, how what you just said basically, how he gets completely destroyed, and because his idealistic nature doesn't. I'm trying to focus on the game at the same time. It's tough.
It doesn't hold up well in the setting.
Yeah.
The setting.
And he basically gets all his hopes crushed, and that's one thing I do enjoy, because if you look at generic protags in general, they always win, I guess. You know, at some point they get what they want, but if you look at Reen, he's just getting crushed more and more and more. You know what I mean? Like he becomes miserable. You know, as the games happen, like one game after another, he's more miserable. You know what I mean? That's one thing I do enjoy about it. But I understand why you dislike him. I think he's fine, but he won't be remembered as a, amazing pro tank. That's for sure.
The way I see it now is, I don't think he's a compelling character, but I think he's a compelling character study.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Also, I guess
And as I say that, the thing about him being a compelling character study, he become, at least from what I'm reading on my anime list, he becomes a more compelling character because he starts out as he starts out as stereotypical, and then is forced to grind that stereotype against a world where the stereotypes meet reality.
Yep. Exactly. You can put it into words way better than I can. So that's basically what I think.
Again, this is what someone presented to me.
But I agree. I actually agree.
In a thread.
That's one thing I thought.
And it just kind of made me realize that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always thought about him, but could never really, explain really well. But yeah, it's I don't know how much you know about Century, but since I know everything, you can just tell me anything. You won't spoil me.
I know that I know from a screenshot he goes full edge at least by the end of it.
Yeah, full edge, but a bit too much, and that's a shame because even the other characters are disappointed in his lack of control. Like even Crow says that he has a lot to learn because well he does.
So.
And it's pure misery at the end.
Yeah, I'm honestly liking him, at least as he's described to me. I'm liking him, well, even in the context of Sen 2, I'm even liking him more in Sen 2 in the context of this argument.
Yeah.
Because if I thought about this argument throughout Sen 2, again, when I was playing Sen 1 and Sen 2, he was grating on me because of how stereotypical he was. But then when I think about all of the events, Rin constantly fails. He's constantly... Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back. So yeah, as I was saying,
He constantly fails.
even in Sen 1 and 2, he's constantly failing. Him in Class 7, but he's the one leading them.
Yeah.
He's constantly failing. He's constantly needing to rely on the help of his friends or people more experienced. Everything is outside of his control.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can really do as much as he wants to. He wouldn't be able to save. He would not have been able to save Thor's if not for the aid of Olivier, who again, he's an adult. He's much more experienced.
He's been through way more than Green, that's for sure.
He's been through more.
You have to remember that Falcom is actually clever with this stuff, and they can take something boring and make it interesting, I think.
So yes, I've realized how at least from this lens how great Reen is.
Yeah.
And it can only go up from there because when you take he's a deconstruction.
Uh-huh.
When you deconstruct a character like that, you can only build up after that.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm trying.
This should have been on my podcast. This should have been on my podcast.
If you want, I can edit this down. I can edit this audio for you and label it the impromptu Falcom fanboy podcast. No, not the Falcom fancast.
Yeah.
I can do that for you.
Oh yeah, actually I might, because I think it was a very interesting conversation. Also, I'm worried about the series because Sen 3 and Sen 4 are relying on Sen 1 and 2 Kai on PS4. Like, you have save bonuses and stuff, and some stuff that, you know, basically, I don't know how anyone can now advance with this series in the West, even Exceed. Like, I don't know how we're gonna do, because I know Exceed is really forcing the PC thing a lot, and Falcom is not going in that direction at all. So I don't know what's gonna happen, honestly, because the Sen 1 and 2 on PC on Steam are obsolete now, really. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
So I can a little off topic, but I cannot accept the mission. I think you have to talk to someone. I think you have to talk to Yuno, I think, in the blood section.
Okay, let me see.
In her.
But yeah, I think it's worrying in a way, because I don't care if Exceed is localizing on someone else, but if it happens in 10 years because Exceed absolutely wants to have it on PC, it's a very bad idea, especially for Falcom. We talked about this, but with the way things are now, Kondo wants the games now. You know, he wants it in the West now, not in a decade when no one will care.
Going by, I'm going to take Floofy's word on this, and I'm just going to assume that Falcom wants to finish 4 first before they hand off the license to 3. Again, I'm making an assumption here.
We'll see anyway.
But yeah.
Maybe I'm worried for nothing. I hope, because I know Exceed is always like, oh, by the way, the game is coming out in 3 months. You know what I mean? So it's they always announce it. Where am I supposed to go? Sorry.
You have to go to the. I think you have to go to the blood section and then go to the door to the right and talk to you.
So I know that they always announce things very late. So perhaps I'm worried for nothing, but we'll see. I mean, I don't care. I can play in Japanese now. I have all the tools I need. I will play Sen 4 as well. So whatever, but still.
Yeah, I need to finish up Xenoblade so I can get to zero.
But yeah. Also, one thing I'm wondering, you haven't played Sen 3, but I wonder how well the actors will be able to adapt in English, because they changed the tone quite a bit. Like, you know what I mean? Even Rin, he sounds really dead on the inside. If you compare his voice from, what's his name, Koki Uchiyama in Sen 1 and 2, and then in Sen 3, it's wow.
I think that Sean Shiplock
he should be able.
Do a fairly
Yeah,
good
he should be able
because,
to put it off. I like him, at least. I don't agree with all the choices that were made, but whatever. Also, I still am angry about that dual audio thing, but that's another topic entirely.
Ooh, we can bring Elisa onto this quest.
Nice. Let's do one last quest
But,
though, because I think it's been a long time.
I think this should. I think this will be. The
Yeah,
last,
yeah.
What was I doing with this? But Sean Shiplock actually does this thing, and I really respect him for that. I don't agree with all of his opinions. I don't agree with a lot of his opinions. But
He's a furry.
he's a furry and needs to be gassed. But anyway, one thing I really do like about one thing I kind of like about him is that when he went into Sen 1 and 2, he watched Japanese walkthroughs to get an idea of how the character would, to get an idea of how Rin would sound.
Oh. Yeah. Pretty nice.
So that's pretty respectable.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, you know what's funny? I don't know if you saw the tweets, but I was watching the stream of Dengeki about Sen 4 with, you know, they showed some scenes and Kondo talking about it, And in his office, he was proudly displaying the Nisa East 8 box.
Oh,
And I was just laughing because he had like his nice collection of stuff, and you could see like the big white East 8 box. I don't know, I just found it funny.
I will say this about NIS America.
They make great limited
On-
editions.
On a technical level, I do not like NIS America on a technical level.
Yeah.
A lot of the times there are several records of their games being buggy messes or changing things for the sake of quote unquote flavor.
Yeah.
But you know, at this point, I've seen XC do that with my. I've seen XC do that with
Oh yeah.
Trails in the
You
Sky,
wouldn't
so
believe what
so
they did with Cold Steel as well.
I,
Trust me.
I would believe it, seeing as how, again, already 3 characters' names change.
Yeah.
But again, they're only NPCs, but that's still some stuff that they're messing
Also,
with.
the fact that they removed as many references to the Crossbell arc as they could in Cold Steel too, so that people wouldn't be lost, which is a huge mistake because now there's going to be Century and 4, which heavily rely on Crossbell, so we're fucked because we need Crossbell, and Exceed is still not doing anything about it. Yay. Sorry, but that's just a big problem.
Yes, I really, but anyway, I really do not like NIS America on a technical level, but at least for the most part, they tend to have with East 8. They knew not to mess with it.
Yeah.
With the localization, so they kept it as literal as possible, even if it was to the detriment of the scripts.
I actually prefer it over the other way around.
I
Honestly, that's just my
I-
taste.
I-
but
I prefer literal. Actually, yeah, I talked about this in I talked about this in my Shining Resonance Refrain Let's Play, where I said back when I was not learning Japanese, I would not mind these changes, but now I prefer a more literal translation because 1, I'm learning Japanese, and 2, because when you're learning a language, and this goes along with me learning Japanese, when you're learning a language, you need to learn the context of the words. And I know we've already talked about
yeah, we did, but yeah.
where you need to know the context of the words like you would an actual language when you were speaking to people.
Yeah.
So I prefer these literal translations because even if they do sound awkward, they force me as the viewer or the player or the listener or whatever to pay attention to the context of the scene and therefore gain a deeper understanding of what's going on as a result.
Yeah.
Or at least make myself gain a deeper understanding, not just blindly read it. I actually have to know what's going on.
You know, one thing I will say is, I know Nisa has a lot of problems, but I think it's going too far when it comes to the Exceed fans' reactions. You can see that it's just a hatred boner, as opposed to, constructive things to say. And I will say this, with my experience with Trails in the Sky when it came out, and the huge LSD trip that was the opening, and the crashes that I had with it at first, and it took weeks to Exceed to fix it, and I wasn't angry at them, like things happen, but I will say I wish people would be a little bit more, what do you call it?
Would be less hypocritical.
Yeah, because sure, Nisa has a lot of issues, and I give them shit, trust me, and you know it. I actually contacted them about, DLC issues, if you remember, and how they kind of ignored me, but not at the same time, by saying, yeah, we'll fix it in 2 weeks, but never fixed it, whatever. And I give them shit, and I give shit, and as we said many times, we say it when something is wrong, no matter the company, and I just wish people would be a little bit more, yeah, not neutral, but you know, objective. I don't
A
know.
little bit more, yeah, subjective.
So that's all I have to say. But clearly, Kondo is very happy with what happened with E8, with Misa. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So when people say, "Oh, never work with Misa over again," yeah, I wouldn't really, you know, Kondo will choose anyone if it means he gets what he wants, which makes sense. Even for Axie's games with Tokyo Xanadu. So
I mean, honestly, I liked how Tokyo Xanadu had Japanese dubs.
And
Because
they-
it made
they
the
respected-
translation
yeah.
a lot bearable.
and they respected French. I know they had to change the font, but they fucking respected the language instead of doing shit without looking it up. Literally, Google Translate does a better job than Exceed at French, and it's French that Exceed decided to add that was not there in the Japanese version. And I think it's quite insulting, to be honest. I'm sorry, but yeah. And they never corrected it. So before anyone, says, I just think it's not acceptable. So. And then they say they have experts about languages or whatever. Well, I don't know. Yeah, talk about experts, huh?
Yes, Viscount. That's it. It was pronounced. You found one movie where the word Viscount was pronounced Viscount. That completely legitimizes the way it's pronounced
Yeah.
in the game.
So, all I say is I've seen Exit being a little bit snarky when E3 was there, and they were actually mocking other localization companies about how they were so much better, I guess. And honestly, I would look at my track record before saying something like that, because that's really not appropriate. I'm sorry, but it's true. So, even if I sound like a hater, I just, yeah, people that hate what I'm saying, deal with it. That's just how it is.
And again,
I respect
I'll
Exceed.
give-
You know, they did a lot of good, but they did bad as well. So,
I mean, I same thing with me. I like the games, at least until recently, that Exceed was bringing over.
and now it's kind of,
But and I find their localizations to be fairly good.
yeah.
Especially if you compare what we got during the PlayStation 1 days.
Yeah, but at least good in an Native American perspective.
In a Burgerlandian sense.
Yeah.
So, at least we're not getting. Does Reen have to choke a bitch? At least we're not getting that. But
Yeah.
where was I? But they have they're for Burgerland standards. They have a higher standard when it comes to localization. But they don't have but we can't get Japanese dubs because of contracts. No, we can't pay for the contract. It'd be too expensive.
But then they
No, we
pay.
can't
But then they pay like for 5,000 extra voice lines in English.
Then no, we can't do dub only and not spend money on an English dub, because then we'd be losing our Burgerland audience.
Yeah, because we Europeans don't matter to them. That's one thing I really noticed is they don't give a shit. We can say anything we want. They won't correct the mistakes they make. When French people complain, they don't care. When we talk about how, I wish I could buy on your store, well, deal with it, we don't ship outside the US. Whatever. It's just, I don't like their attitude towards that thing. I don't know. Their games are being localized, distributed in Europe, so they should actually care because people see it. Or whatever.
That reminds me of a chirp that Hatsu put out saying, "Oh, there were two people who came by the booth at Anime
Oh,
Expo,
and said, do you
one
have
of them
something
said-
with titties? And yeah, do you have anything with titties? Is it the one?
And then someone else came up talking about Sen 3. Yeah, I think the reason why people talk about that is because they never mention it. What they mostly just say is, "Oh, shut up, we can't talk about." Just say there are corporate reasons why we are currently unable to announce it.
Yeah.
Just say that.
Also,
Just
say,
say
for the dub debate, also they should have been more. I know NDA, Tom did mention it, he cannot say anything because if he does, he gets fired. I know. But the NDA thing is about Exit, not about Falcon, by the way. But yeah, so just say, okay guys, we just chose it to be this way because, yeah, as long as Brittany is at the wheel, whatever you want to call it, it's not gonna change. She's a huge fangirl of English dubs, so I know.
Honestly,
I blame her. I'm sorry, but I blame her.
She's not, to me, she does not come off as a bad person. She has shit taste, but she's not a bad person. The problem is that I don't think she's good for PR.
No, she's not good. Oh, I will say that.
She's-
She's also very.
she's-
She's complaining a lot.
She's fairly thin-skinned, especially compared to Tom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's fairly thin-skinned, and again, she replies to things that really she shouldn't.
Yeah, and also she speaks her mind way too much as a person that is known for being when you have a Twitter account where people know you work for Exceed, that she shouldn't be doing what she does on Twitter.
I'm wondering if we should include this in the Falcon fan.
No, I'll cut this
No,
off.
okay.
I'll cut this off. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. But I'm going to. I'll edit it out. I just actually I mentioned it because I wanted to know if you wanted it edited out or not.
I don't mind, but I think it should be a separate subject because the whole.
It's less about Falcon and more about
Yeah,
Exceed.
and it's the Falcon fancast, so I think it should be, about Falcon. But because people associate Exceed way too much with Falcon, I think it's a mistake. Because Exceed is a localization company, So yeah. But yeah, what did I want to say? I forgot. I just wish the world would be a little bit more fair when it comes to understanding people like us, at least me, in the sense that I am a French-speaking person, and all I want is a little bit of care and honesty. And the honesty part is also for you, everyone, for everyone.
I hate how. The way I see it, the only way you can win is just buy the game in Japanese.
Yeah, that's what I do now. In fact, we talked about it with a few friends.
Breaking off its attack to me.
We decided that we will, if we get stuff in English, we will get it because it's always more comfortable for us. But the main thing will be now playing in Japanese and completely discarding the rest. We don't care. We just get the best of the experience, I guess. The best experience by doing that. And there's enough tools nowadays with the knowledge we have to actually play the games. So there is really no reason to rely on waiting years for an English localization. Even for you, you definitely have the level to do this. Trust me, you do.
But actually, and if that's not available, if you can't learn Japanese, actually, I would say, how a lot of games are coming to the Southeast Asia territory now?
Yeah, with English translations, yeah.
Again, they use fairly literal translations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's no changing of the lore. There's no egregious, unnecessary changes. they keep the Japanese dub, and again, it's in English because in the Southeast Asia territory, English is kind of a unified language around there, so English is just the easiest thing. And honestly, I've spoken to at least the PR people. I've spoken to some of the PR people that work on some of these games, and they're all really cool people. Or P-Cube. P-Cube is really cool.
Yeah.
But they're a European company, so that should be a given.
But
yeah, UK company.
Yeah, UK.
So yeah, that should be a given.
Man, but yeah, so what should we come back to the podcast subject one last time? I mean, I guess we said everything there was to say about Reen anyway, so...
Yeah. The best case scenario is that it's not Axes, it's not NIS America, it's not Xseed, Axes, or NIS America, it's the Southeast Asia localization companies.
I know Sen 1 and 2, and in fact the entire Sen arc is gonna be released in Chinese regions, but no word on an English translation, unfortunately, so...
I honestly doubt it.
Yeah, no, it's been confirmed.
man,
It's been confirmed that it by PlayAsia that it won't have a English translation, unless they do one later. Who knows? But I'm just hoping we do get them translated. Even if I can play them in Japanese now, and it's still nice. So we will see. We need the PS4 versions in the West. That's
Actually, before we end this episode, because this episode's going to end after this mission. One thing I will say is, again, I play a filthy mobile game called Grand Blue Fantasy. What they did is they did not make a separate server. They did not make a separate version of the game for the US or Europe or English. They just slapped on English onto the game.
Yeah.
They just slapped English onto the game. And now a bunch of people are playing that game.
Exactly, yeah. So I think...
it makes me wonder... it makes me think... Why don't more Japanese game companies do that when they know they have an audience in the West? Because I think it would save them money. It would save them production cost. They just have to patch it in.
Oh yeah, another solution I thought about, maybe I'm just way too naive, but I wish Falcom, since Falcom now has, I believe, 1/3 of the profit. I mean, 1/3 of the profit comes from the West. So that's a huge number, actually, believe it or not. So one thing I'm hoping to see one day is perhaps Falcom would open a Western
studio,
branch?
like Arc System Works did.
Yeah, or IFI,
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, that is something I would love to see, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's one thing.
So, I will add this part onto the podcast.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
I think this is a good place to end, at least in terms of gameplay.
Yep.
戦えファルコム社はザナブーの正義のために決めポーズよゴーファイ民主主義